Now, someone could ask me, oh, why you say that in Russia they don't speak, in China they don't speak? We are still not Russia or China.
When you were in school, did you ever think that this would be where your journey would take you? Did you, when you first started your qualifications, when you started doing your degree, did you ever think that I would be a corporate trainer, I would end up in the fashion industry?
Because, see, communication, what we learn in just school, like, just one period, or you go to an English course, like a lot of people go for like English courses, which is good. But the thing is, if you're not going to put that into practice, you are never going to improve your communication skills.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Success Podcast. I'm here with a very special guest today. The list of accolades this guest has is probably the longest list of accolades I've ever read on this podcast. I have with me today the founder, president of the Colombo Fashion Council. He's a corporate trainer that has taught over 15,000 people from 30 nationalities or more than 30 nationalities. He was the first Asian to judge the Mr. Earth Worldwide pageant in 2011. He won the Young Creative Entrepreneur Award in 2012. He was the most outstanding corporate trainer for soft skills development in South Asia, 2016. He was a part of the 10 most outstanding people of Sri Lanka in 2016. He was a part of the 10 most outstanding young people of Sri Lanka in 2016. Trainer of the Year, 2017. Top 100 Leaders in Training and Development, 2017. Creative Visionary in Fashion and Pageantry, 2025. He also does consultancy for personal branding for CEOs, directors, sports personalities, fashion icons, and artists. And he is, and I'm not mistaken when I say this, he is probably the best corporate trainer in Sri Lanka at this very moment. Prassanna Pathmanathan. Very nice to have you here.
Thank you, Seshan, for having me. And my God, that's such a list of, credentials that you read. Thank you so much for that.
No problem. I'm very happy to have you here. That's quite a journey that you have had. And how did this journey start? Where did you take the first initiative to get into your journey as a trainer? How did this come about?
Yeah, I actually never expected that I will become a trainer, to be honest. I would say it's an accident. I never realized or I never planned to become a trainer. One of my cousins, he owned a training company, and lately, I was working at that time and I was just 24 years old. He asked me to come and do a training for one of his clients. I didn't have any idea about this. I had a book. I just made some slides. Then went and did a training for just 2 hours, 2.5 hours. And the response was immense, right? And if I go back and see those slides now, I feel so ashamed about myself because it looks really bad, right? So because I don't know anything about training. And that was the first time I actually went and spoke to a large number of audience. So from there onwards, I got that particular confidence that I could train people. So actually, I developed certain skills and competencies to go and talk to people, to train the corporate participants. I've trained multiple audience, diverse audience, Seshan. Corporate audience is like just one group of people that I train. Other than that, I speak to soldiers. I speak to Navy officials. I speak to entrepreneurs. I speak to rural women. I speak to school children, university students, also beauty queens around the world who go for various pageant contestants, like, who go for different pageants. Also, I speak to company CEOs, entrepreneurs, also artists. So my audience is very diverse. So that's how my journey started in 2011, and it's been 15 years now in the training industry.
That's amazing. And you've worked with some amazing companies, you've worked with top people. That's quite an achievement that you have made. I want to get into training in terms of communication, personal development, personal branding. But before that, you are also a pillar in the fashion community. How did this come about? Because when I looked into your education and where you started, you studied marketing, you studied business. How did this whole fashion thing come about?
Well, again, fashion, it's also not something that I have planned at all. So, back then, while I was working as an intern for an organization, I had an opportunity to write for a magazine. So, I think my creative writing part was a little better. As a growing kid, I love writing. So I used to write articles. I've interviewed so many celebrities in Sri Lanka, not just in Sri Lanka, but in India as well. So I used to do my columns in terms of writing. Then my interest moved into like fashion show reviews. I used to go for fashion shows and then look at the show and write certain articles about it. Then in 2011, I organized a fashion designer contest called Flamboyance. So it is where something that you hunt for like the young designers and give them a platform. So the journey actually started from there. And also in 2011, I was invited as a judge for Mr. Earth, one of the biggest pageant at that particular time. I was very young, right? I was like 24 at that time, 24, 25. Then my biggest breakthrough happened in 2012 when British Council announced the Young Creative Entrepreneur Fashion and Design Awards. So that is like a global award that happens in multiple countries. So every country will have their own winner. So in Sri Lanka, around 247 contestants from 27 creative industries, including apparel companies, architects, interior designers, fashion designers, merchandisers, jewelry designers, like that. Plenty of people who apply, but only one winner. So fortunately, I was very lucky to compete with all very good professional experts in the industry that I won. And the reward for the award is a tour in London, where you get to meet your other winners around the world, like you. So in my year, there were around 54 country winners, and I was the youngest winner in the world that year, which opened my eyes to fashion in terms of fashion incubation, fashion promotion, fashion education. So the journey started from 2012 strongly in fashion industry. Then in 2016, I founded the Colombo Fashion Council.
That's amazing. When you were in school, did you ever think that this would be where your journey would take you? Did you, when you first started your qualifications, when you started doing your degree, did you ever think that I would be a corporate trainer, I would end up in the fashion industry?
Absolutely no. Absolutely no, because I was a nerd in school. Only thing that I knew was just to study.
Okay.
Right? Even in the university, I didn't have like a big social life. I never went out. I was never exposed to like the social life, because for me my goal is to to become a gold medalist. And I became a gold medalist in my university. So I wanted to just keep focusing on studies. And I actually thought I'll end up in a software company because I did IT. So I thought I will become a software guy, I'll become a project manager, and my journey would continue in software. But then life had other plans. And here I am today as a corporate trainer, as a fashion professional, also as a management and a marketing consultant. But I didn't, because I studied IT, I had a lot of passion. And I decided I wanted to give that knowledge back to the students. So from the time I finished my degree in 2009 until today, so that is 17 years, I'm teaching IT in multiple universities. So whatever I learned, I still use it to impart knowledge to students. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, Prasanna, now the audience that's watching our channel is mainly an audience that is either struggling to speak English and want to learn, or they are an audience that can speak English well but struggle to speak in front of an audience. You're a communications trainer. How important is good communication in today's society? Because today's society is run by technology. We have AI, we have social media, we have everything at the fingertips, right? In this society, how important is good communication? Is good communication really necessary to do well in today's world?
Yeah. Before answering that question, I'll tell a little bit about how I improved. Right. So as a growing kid, I spoke in Tamil at home,
Right.
right? I was scared to speak in English, so freaked out to speak in English while I was growing up. One day, my parents took me for a party, my mother's office party, and all my mother's, colleagues' children, they were all speaking, and I was seated alone. I was scared to communicate because I was shy to speak in English, and my father was really embarrassed because of that. When he came home, he said, "Look, I'm never going to talk to you in Tamil anymore. You have to only speak to me in English." And I was struggling. I'm like, I don't know. I said, I'm going to talk to you. He said, I don't know. You have to figure it out. So if I wanted to communicate to my father, I have to go to my mother first. I have to tell her the sentence in Tamil. She will translate it in English. And I have to go to my father and I have to speak to him. That's the hard way that I learned English, right? Because see, communication, what we learn in just school, like just one period, or you go to an English course, like a lot of people go for like English courses, which is good. But the thing is, if you're not going to put that into practice, you are never going to improve your communication skills. So, answering your question, how important this is in today's society, right? See, everyone has a degree, Sasha. People have professional qualifications. You fall on someone, now you have MBA, because I teach for MBAs in multiple universities. But how are you going to stand out? In my opinion, traveling around the world and working with multiple corporates, you might have 101 titles after your name. But if you're not an effective communicator, those titles mean nothing. Those titles mean nothing. Organization could never promote you to a higher position if you can't talk to people, to a larger number of audience, right? And we are a single speaking country, but the thing is, if you're not good in your English, you're never gonna cut it there, right? You are never gonna get an international exposure. You won't be able to build a name the way that you want. It will take time. I'm not putting people down who can't speak in English, who are very good in Sinhala. That's fine. That's fine. But the thing is, even recently we saw one of our politicians, went to an international conference. And then when the Indian journalist, when she was asking questions, he was struggling and I felt really bad for him at that time. It's not that, we come from English speaking background. I went to like a local school. I didn't go to an international or a private school. We all come from that same background. But at one point, when when your designation improves, when your position changes, you really need to improve your language skills, your communication skills, because English is a global language. Right? Now, someone could ask me, oh, why you say that in Russia they don't speak, in China they don't speak? We are still not Russia or China.
That is true.
Right? We are still not Russia or China. We are dependent on others. We are dependent on other countries. We are going to seek jobs in other countries. We are working, we are collaborating with other countries, to bring money to this particular country. So if you're not going to be fluent, if you're not going to speak, then it will become a big problem. So more than your qualifications, if anyone is watching this, more than your qualifications, your communication is key.
Some people might say, especially if you're working in tech-based industries, IT, software development, web development, and so on, why do I need to be able to communicate well to move up the corporate ladder? As long as my technical skills are good, as long as I'm really good on my IT knowledge, why can't I move up the ladder? What would you have to say to people like
Oh, yeah. This is something that I hear all the time.
Yeah.
See, Seshan, when you are pro, I know people who are even my colleagues, not colleagues, I would say friends in my university, they are really good. They could just close their eyes and they could develop a program in just 5-10 minutes, where I struggle for like 3 hours to build a small code. I'm not so good at coding. But the thing is, your growth will be stagnated at one point, right? How can they send you to an international client visit? You might be amazing in your coding, in your programming, but if you can't speak well, how are you going to sit at a dinner table, engage with your customers in Norway or Sweden? You can't. So the people who are not so good maybe in coding or programming, but who could speak well are the ones who get picked to go on these international client visits. How will you go on a stage in front of all your 15, 20 investors and give a product presentation and to say, invest in my company? Now, these days, I see a lot of entrepreneurs, I really appreciate, IT students who are starting businesses, their companies. They are so confident about their product, which is amazing, but they fail to improve their language skills. They fail to improve their communication skills. I have seen this multiple companies that I work with. The CEO, the young chap, brainy, brilliant, but cannot give a client presentation, cannot go and speak at a podcast or like at a TED talk. They're shy. They're hiding behind screens. They're putting their staff to go and present. So yeah, so this need to change. People really need to think much about this. People think, oh no, English is not so important. Even especially in the university time, even in my universities that I teach, when I see my students, even at a corridor, even at the canteen, they speak in Sinhala or Tamil, I stop them and I say, please speak in English. Right? The biggest problem is your friends, right? They speak in the native language and you'll never be able to improve. So keep practicing. You have to keep talking.
That's a very good point. Now, a lot of even when students come for my classes, one of the biggest problems they have as to why they're scared to speak in English, why they're scared to speak in front of a crowd, is they're scared of what their friends or other people might say about them when they speak in English. They're scared of making mistakes. Just like that minister's example you pointed out, so many people are waiting to point the finger at you, to laugh at you, to ridicule you if you make a mistake. And you might even know, since you went to a local school, how it is when you try to speak in English. All your friends make fun of you. They bully you if you try to speak in English. What can people do to overcome this fear and improve themselves to speak confidently in front of people?
Now, it's like this. One thing I've noticed in Sri Lanka, uh, people might laugh at you for multiple things, but people appreciate if you try to speak in English. I've noticed that in multiple places. Even when I even judge, these entrepreneurship competitions, or maybe I'm a judge at a beauty pageant, we really appreciate, not just me. I'm not talking about me. I see a lot of people appreciating, he's trying, she's trying. Even corporates are appreciating. But people think, no, inside they are laughing at us. Inside, they think, oh my God, I'm a loser. No, don't have that attitude, right? Now, when I go back and see my own interviews on YouTube for TV channels, I could pinpoint 100 mistakes now.
Yeah.
Now, when I gonna go back and see this interview, maybe another 5 years time, again I will be able to pinpoint my mistakes in English in this. No one is perfect. No one is Winston Churchill or Shakespeare here. Right? But what is important is you'll be able to, communicate in a simple manner, to express your feelings, express what you think. That is what's important. Right? So if you wanted to overcome this particular fear, you need to start speaking. Right? I would say start speaking to your parents. Although they might not speak to you. Now, that's how I used to study when I was a kid. I used to teach my mother or father, which they would have no clue about what I was talking. But I would just speak. You're scared to speak to humans? Speak to your dog. Speak to your cat. Go in front of the mirror, just speak. Watch a movie. I used to do that. I used to watch, when I was a kid, I watched these Harry Potter movies. And I memorize those dialogues. Then I go and recite those dialogues, like having a stick in the hand, like a wand. And I used to tell spells and all in front of the mirror, right? Whatever the way is fine, but let go of this particular fear, right? Because, until you swim, you are never going to let go of the fear of swimming. Until you do a bungee jumping, which I've done in Switzerland, You will never you will never let go of the fear of heights. Until you start speaking in English, you will never let go of that fear. So you have to start speaking, right? Develop a group, develop a friends group. If you think, okay, even my friends can't speak well, build that group, a power team which will enable you to speak in English.
That's a very good point, and I wanted to. I'm sure you've heard of this quote. You are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with the most, right? But sometimes the people we hang out with the most is not the circle that we want to be with. It's not a group that might help us improve. It's not a group that might help us reach our fullest potential.
Yeah.
And you correctly pointed out that you should find a group of friends that will help you elevate yourself. In Sri Lanka, in Colombo, do people have the opportunity to find a new network of people? Do they have the opportunity to go and get to know new people that they would not have the opportunity to know in their regular friend circle from their village or from their town? What are some of those opportunities, and what can people do in Colombo or in Sri Lanka today to make these new connections?
Absolutely, there are a lot of opportunities. We have multiple clubs. I'm not talking about nightclubs.
Yes.
You have the Rotary Club,
Yeah.
Rotaract clubs,
Yeah.
Leo clubs, Lions clubs, Isaac, Toastmasters club. How many people know about Toastmasters clubs? How many people are joining Toastmasters club to improve their language skills? Sometimes there are people I know that I go and give certain talks in these clubs. I see the people who come with no English knowledge or very little English language knowledge, improving in just few months, 6 months, 1 year. They are good at it and they build a circle. There are business network clubs. You are in marketing. There are marketing associations. You are in engineering. There are multiple engineering societies like IEEE, Women Engineering Society. There are plenty. Only thing is people are not actually digging deep. They're not bothered about these things. They're not looking to join these type of groups where they could improve their language skills. Right? Now, even when I go and join a course, right, I make sure that I create a circle in that particular group. Right? I take the initiative of, having a WhatsApp group, regular meetups. So, Seshan, my friend groups are very diverse too. Right? As you said, like, what is the quote that you mentioned?
You are the sum of the 5 people you
Yeah,
hang
so
out
I
with
have
the most.
multiple fives, right?
Yeah.
I have fives in corporate, I have like fashion,
Yeah.
in my masters, like, psychology, I would take, IT, I would take. And that is all right to have multiple groups that you want to go and fit in, because, different people come with different packages, right? They would enlighten you in different ways. Now, if you take a look at my psychology team, which I really love, we talk a lot about human behavior. We talk about emotional intelligence. We speak about trauma, stress, work-life balance. My fashion group, we speak about fashion ideas, creativity. We talk about events internationally, how the designers, do this particular creation. Right? I speak to, my students, young team. We talk about all different things.
Yeah.
So like that, you could have different groups. You could be part of different clubs, societies, but be part of something for you to learn.
There is also another quote that says, your network is your net worth. How true is this statement?
I would say 200% true. See, I'm someone who constantly look to network with people. As you introduced me, as you said, like, I've trained more than 30 nationalities. How is this possible? Me to travel around the globe. How is it possible? It's purely because of networking. Right? According to the networking rule, it says at least you network with 5 new people a week. Surely I really don't have time to meet 5 people a week, but I at least make sure I meet 1 new person a week. Right? Now we have our LinkedIn, we have our social media. There are multiple people that we have in that. Do we know all of them? No, we don't know all of them. So I take an effort to message. I take an effort to build that connection to meet at least one person a week who I think I could collaborate. It's a good contact to have. It's someone who might share similar interests like you, right? Because it's all about who you know, also who knows you back.
Absolutely.
You get it? I would say I'm not telling it because of being, level-headed or anything like that. I could just sit in one place and I could get things done around me, by calling people. Because that is what matters. People network at events. People meet. We meet people. Then what happens after that? It just dies down. You don't keep in touch. You don't contact. You should, maybe when you exchange a business card, just business card is just lying on your table. The right networking rule is you have to, send them an email or a message within 24 hours of that particular meeting to say, it was really nice meeting you. Let's keep in touch. I, of course, ask their permission. Can I connect you on WhatsApp, which is very easy at the moment, rather than sending an email. But before you do that, you just get their permission and ask them, can I, do this? Right? Sometimes you might not have your business card. Always carry a business card. You don't need to be a business professional to carry a business card. You might be a student. You might be someone who's looking for a job. Still, you could have your business card with your details. It's a personal selling card. So networking is key, Seshan, because, that, made me go around the world.
Now, when it comes to networking, it's very different to public speaking, right? So when we talk about building up our communication skills, interpersonal communication is a massive part of it, because like you correctly said, if you don't know people, it's very tough to get things done.
Yeah.
How do you develop this skill of interpersonal communication? Because sometimes no matter how much you practice at home, no matter how much you practice even speaking to your parents or your siblings or your friends, when you meet someone new for the first time, it's very tough to carry out a conversation. You lose your train of thought. You don't know what to say. Hi, how are you? Where do you work? Outside of that, you don't know what to say.
Yeah.
What can you do in such an instance? How can you genuinely build a connection with somebody that you meet for the first time?
Now, see, my first question is, there's so much of corporates over here. So many corporates. How many companies, now if you take a look at most of the companies, the official language is English. But you tell me how many companies, the staff speak in English inside the organization?
Very few.
Very, very few. A lot of meetings, it starts in English, but it ends in Sinhala, the native language. So, in that way, you cannot improve your vocabulary. You're not going to find new words. You're not going to expand your interpersonal communication, right? So you have to keep practicing it. If you don't practice it, you cannot openly communicate with a stranger or someone you meet new. So when you meet someone new, there are certain conversation starters that you could actually use, right? So the conversation starter, it no need to be very formal, right? Or planned to say, hey, I'm Prasanna, what's your name? I work for this company. How about you? It no need to be that. It could be about the weather. It could be about that event that you are in. Maybe it's crowded, you feel claustrophobic, or the AC is like a little too much, or you love that particular canopy that they served. So this could be a conversation starter with that person, right? It no need to be very original, but it could be very at that moment that you pick, right? After that, you could get into a formal conversation with that particular person, where you could actually speak and then introduce yourself, right? And also very important, when you communicate with someone new or stranger, you always need to understand a common ground. Lot of people fail to do that. So the common ground could be, now, Seshan, we met at a gym, right? How did we connect? I don't know you before. We connected because you're a communication trainer, I'm a corporate trainer. So we had something common to speak. So whenever I meet someone new, I always find something common. Now, see, for an example, certain people come and talk to me about politics. Oh, that is one way to make me run from that conversation because I'm really not good at it.
Right.
I'm not so knowledgeable about it. And it's again, I could be knowledgeable, but the thing is, it's not my areas of interest. I'm not interested in politics, right? But if someone is going to talk about, tech, I would love. If someone's going to talk about mindfulness, someone is going to talk about fashion, someone going to talk about life, I really get engaged. So you really need to understand that will be something that is common between you. Don't build a conversation with only based on your interest. It need to be on the other person's interest too. Then keep in touch with that particular person. Don't lose that conversation only from that particular place. Take it further. Maybe meet up for a coffee later on. I always do that. Meet up for a coffee. Only thing is, in Sri Lanka now having a coffee is quite expensive for a lot of people. But find some way of building that connection. That will help you to expand your network.
Absolutely. I also want to talk about etiquette, right? You're a etiquette trainer as well. What is etiquette? What does this mean? And why is it important to anyone that wants to build a good brand, a good personality for themselves?
Yeah. Now, etiquette, the word etiquette started from Paris or from France, where like earlier days, they used to have like huge dinners, like these banquet dinners they used to have. So for that dinners, people who wanted to attend that dinner, they need to buy a ticket. So back of the ticket, they will have the rules of what you need to dress, how you need to hold your glasses, everything. So that ticket became etiquette later on. That's how that particular word.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, so the ticket only became etiquette.
Right.
Etiquette, business etiquette is very, very important. If you take a look at etiquette, you have so many different types of etiquette. You have the business etiquette, you have the workplace etiquette, communication etiquette, time etiquette, dining etiquette, buffet etiquette, restaurant etiquette, airplane etiquette, hotel stay etiquette, meeting etiquette, telephone etiquette, mobile etiquette, washroom etiquette. I could just go on and on and on. So this is where I train people, train a lot of corporates in terms of improving this etiquette. Something very important, your email etiquette, your social media etiquette, your WhatsApp etiquette, right? Imagine, we get these WhatsApp messages. You send a reply, you send a statement, or you send a message to someone, and they would say K. What is this K?
Okay.
Is it the right etiquette of communicating with, at a professional setting to send a K? How people use abbreviations. Imagine you send a message to your boss and you say ROFL at the end, rolling on the floor laughing. It's not going to be the right way that you communicate with your boss. How people use emotion or emoticons, right? Now, this has happened to one of my friends. His senior manager's mom passed away. So he has sent a message saying, just inform. So he has written a long message on WhatsApp. And at the end, he had to put that face, like, where you have the tears coming like that. Mistakenly, he has put the face that cries like this.
Laughing emoji.
The laughing emoji, like the crying laughing emoji.
Oh, gosh.
The message being delivered, then only I realized, the mistake that he has done.
Oh, shoot.
So, from the other end, the person might feel, what the hell is wrong with these people?
Yeah.
Right? You go for a business meal with your client, the way you hold your cutleries, right? The way you hold your wine glass, how much you serve to your plate, isn't it important? Now, sometimes when I do my TikTok videos, I teach people etiquette. I get some comments saying, my car, my money, my petrol, I will eat the way that I want. Yeah, you could eat the way that you want at home. No one is going to question you.
Yeah.
No one is going to judge you. But if you're going to be seated at an office event with your boss and you don't know how to use the cutlery, you don't know how to, take the soup from the soup bowl, people are surely going to judge you. there are people. I'll tell you a small incident about how important etiquette is. This happened at one of the, I don't want to mention the name of the airline, one of the most popular airlines in the world, the five-star airline. They had an interview for their regional manager's position. So many people being interviewed, and they picked one person. So the interview, I mean, the offer letter is given over a 5-course meal with the chairman or the CEO. So the CEO and this particular new recruit, they have not been told yet. So they were seated for a meal. Soup arrived. This gentleman added some salt to the soup and started having it. CEO decided at that time, I'm not hiring him. Why? He added the salt to the soup without tasting the soup. It's a mistake from an etiquette perspective because you're disrespecting the chef who made the soup. From a management perspective, you made a decision without analyzing that situation. There might be no salt, there might be enough salt, less salt. How did you add salt without tasting it? How many of us we have done that when you go to a restaurant? We add salt and pepper without even tasting the soup. How many people follow the right etiquette answering phone calls, putting someone on hold? The etiquette rules to follow when you have an online meeting, to make sure that you mute your mic when the other people speak. Right? So there are so many rules because etiquette is a common language. If you know these etiquette, you will be able to walk into any room, any event, any country without any issue. Right? So these are very, very important if you are a working professional, if you are an entrepreneur, if you are a student.
Prasanna, why are these things not taught in schools, in universities? Because now, see, good communication, like you correctly pointed out, is absolutely important to succeed in the corporate world or in life in general. Good etiquette will help you get through any door. But none of these things are taught us. I mean, I have never been to an etiquette class when I was in school. Yeah, I attended courses separately when I finished, but never in school, never in university. Communication, I had to go for public speaking classes, I had to go for communications training to learn how to communicate well. These were not skills that I necessarily was taught in school. Why do you think that is, and do you think it should be included in school curriculums?
100%. Before anything, I would say the first thing that you need to change is to make sure the English teachers speaks in English. Right, with the students.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate in my school. All our teachers spoke to us only in English. But I know for a fact there are so many schools, the English teachers, they speak in Sinhala or Tamil. All right, English is just, that's there in the book, and they would do an exercise, but they don't communicate with the students, right? It's very important that they speak to the students in English and make sure every student speak back in English. That is number one. We use this particular term called the finishing school, right? Now, this is very popular in other countries. In Sri Lanka, there are certain people who do these finishing schools, right? Where that is like, when you finish your school, when you finish your university, they go through this etiquette, grooming, dining, all that type of training before they enter the corporate. But don't you think this finishing school need to be a thing in the school to finish? Right? But, the schools, even like the schools which has facilities to do this, the schools which has budgets to do this, right? Like top Columbus schools, are they even doing these etiquette trainings for their students who are passing out after A-level? No. Some universities does, but they also do it just like one session. Sometimes they call me and say, Prasanna, we want to do this etiquette training. I said, yeah, sure, let's do that. We have just 2 hours. How can you teach all these in 2 hours? For certain people, it's just a tick to say, okay, we have done an etiquette training. No, but that's not sufficient. You need to put a lot of effort. I would say universities should include this in their curriculum. There should be, because imagine how many etiquettes that I've listed it down, like 20, 25 etiquette areas. So why not, like in your first year, second year, you have this. People have sessions on, their communication, they have CV writing, interview facing, but they don't know how to even shake hands when they go to an interview. They don't know about their body language. They don't know how to even use a washroom. It's an etiquette rule. When you go to a washroom, you cannot speak to anyone in that washroom. You cannot maintain eye contact with anyone inside a washroom. How many people do that? People look at each other, they speak about family issues, they talk about office gossip inside the washroom, which is wrong. So that's why, schools and universities really need to incorporate this in their curriculum, and I strongly recommend that they do that.
Currently, we've done just over about 40 videos on this channel, right, on podcasts. And there have been only 2 people that have come here and done what you did as soon as we started the session today, which is you checked what you look like. You checked your image as to how you look when the camera was put on you. Only one other person outside of you has ever done that before. And he was also a top-level businessman. He was trying to, he's in politics and so on. Why did you do that? And how important is your brand image, the way you dress, the way you present yourself, when it comes to moving in society?
I would say that is number one, your personal brand image. Now, say for an example, say you buy a tea, right? I'm going to ask you this question. How much is the tea in a petti kade?
About 25-30 rupees.
No, I also thought, but it's 100 rupees, it seems now at this point. How much that tea would cost you at a kade like Pilaus?
Yeah, say
150,
150,
right?
Yeah.
You go to a small restaurant, it will cost you around 400 rupees.
Yeah.
You go to a coffee shop or a tea lounge, it will cost you like 800 rupees.
Yeah.
You go to a 5-star, that tea would cost you like 1,300 rupees.
Yeah.
You go to the airport, it will cost you like 2,000 rupees. You buy the same tea in the airplane, it will cost you $10, that is 3,400 rupees. Did the tea change? No. But where it was served, how it was packaged and how it was served, the value changed of that tea. Same applies to us. Same applies to us. How do we present ourselves? How do we build our image? That is really, really important. Right? You might have your personal preferences. Right? I would love to go somewhere with a pair of short and a skinny, with the Bata slippers.
Yeah.
That is like my comfort outfit. But can I do that? Can I do that? Can I be like that when I go out? When I walk on the road? No, I can't. So I could do that only at home or when I go on a beach holiday.
Yeah.
Right? You have to present yourself to the best. So why did soon after I came here in front of the camera, I was checking my angle because a lot of people are going to watch this. And if I'm going to, I have to practice what I preach to other people about their image building and the brand building, right? Personal branding or brand building is like a passport for you to go anywhere that you want around the world. It would give you opportunities. It will give you recognition. People will respect you. People will understand you. I'm not going to tell that, you're not going to have haters. Obviously, you will have. And they will try to even, tarnish your brand image. But you have to have your head straight. And you really need to make sure that you present yourself to the best. That's why I always tell people, it's okay to overdress, but never underdress. Right? And understand what to wear to what type of occasion. And sometimes people don't. You don't believe why I started my training company. Right? I was invited to one of the black tie events by one of the biggest marketing association in Sri Lanka. Around 304 people were there. So when you say black tie, you have to wear a tuxedo. Well, the James Bond movie is what James Bond wears. So I've worn a tuxedo and gone there. And these top professionals in the country, they have worn a white shirt and a black tie. So you could, if you even don't know, you could even Google to see what is black tie event. So this was back in 2011-12 I'm talking about. And then we have to go for a sit-down meal. So in a sit-down meal, the cutleries, the crockeries, all will be laid down. You're not going to go and serve the food comes to your table. And that moment I saw how people are using their cutlery. People are using dessert spoon to add their main meal. Some people are changing their fork and the knife from this side to the other side. At that time, I thought, okay, people really need to know about these type of things because I have done that type of courses before. That is the start of my company. Back in 2013, I started my company. And until today, I'm doing these etiquette trainings. It is all right for us to not to know about these things. But in your life, at some point, you're being a corporate person, you're an entrepreneur, you have to learn these skills. Because this is where you're projecting in front of other people. The image that you're projecting in front of other people. So this is very important.
Absolutely. One final question, Prasanna. Two questions actually. My first one is, people say, okay, you see people like Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg. These people don't pay much attention to how or what they wear. They just turn up in a turtleneck sweater. They have jeans, they have shoes. They don't care about wearing a tuxedo, a suit and all of that. What do you have to say to people that say this about the way they dress, about the etiquette that they have? What would you say to these people?
First of all, we are not Steve Jobs or Mark Zuckerberg yet.
Correct.
But
Yeah.
someone asked me this question,
Yeah.
then I said that, but I went and researched about it.
Right.
Mark Zuckerberg, he always look the same way when you see him with that particular t-shirt. That t-shirt is one of his brand identities and it cost so much dollars to get one piece.
Yeah.
Right? And I started following him after that because to understand this. Did you see him at Ambani's son's wedding?
Yes.
How he was dressed, him and his wife.
Yeah.
When he is speaking at events, I've started noticing how he changed his look. Right? So, they are, they build big organization, billion-dollar businesses. They think about this more than us. Right?
Absolutely.
They create their identity through their outfits. And they wear the right kind of clothes for benefiting the right kind of occasions. Right?
Absolutely.
So until you become Mark Zuckerberg or Steve Jobs, that you could afford that one type of t-shirt for like thousands of dollars, dress up nicely.
Absolutely. My final question to you is, to everyone that's watching this video, that's watching this channel, again, keep in mind the audience is people that want to communicate well, that want to build up their communication skills. What final message would you leave them with?
Very simple. Start speaking. Stop hiding. Because when you start hiding, thinking about what other people are going to think about you, your pronunciation, your grammar, your vocabulary, you're never going to improve. Today, even like while I'm speaking, there are certain top, experts in English might find faults the way that I speak, my pronunciation, the words, the choices of words, right? But it's still fine. I'm okay to deliver this message, and I'm sure people would understand what I'm saying, right? So if you're going to think, okay, I have to be perfect to communicate, I need to go to a particular course, I have to learn, we are never going to be perfect. Even in another 5 years' time, I'm not going to be perfect. In another 10 years' time, I'm not going to be perfect. This applies to everyone. So stop hiding, come out, start speaking, start small, right? You get an opportunity to speak at your Sunday school, go and do that. You get an opportunity to speak, to give a vote of thanks in your organization, do that, right? Seek opportunities, look for opportunities where you could push yourself to speak at some event at some point. So this is my final message to you.
Thank you so much, Prasanna, for being here today. It was my absolute pleasure to interview you on our channel.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed this conversation, and I hope this might be useful. This will be useful for the audience who's seeing this.
Definitely. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel, Leave a comment down below as to what you thought about this video. Share this with a friend and click the notification bell to stay tuned for all videos that we put out in the future. Till our next video, keep practicing.